This game is called Tropico 6. It's weird saying that specific phrase for like a game that is a real series that has fans and stuff. So yeah, Tropico 6. You may have heard of it before. It's a pretty well-known series. You may have also played it before if you've played Tropico 5 and 4 and 3. Yeah, this is a very iterative series, and I say that with all the love in the world. I love Tropico. It's one of my favorite city builder, simulator, island dictator games. It's its own beast entirely, but it's one I've always enjoyed for a long time. So, with that being said, let's talk about Tropico 6. It's okay. It's got some improvements. It's got some odd omissions that might come in DLC or something. It's a weird thing. So let's go ahead and load up a game. I've been doing a bunch of different games. I streamed the game drunk one night, so that's that was a thing. Let's load this one. I have no idea how. I can't remember anything. We're gonna see what my city ended up looking like. I feel like I didn't grid anything out, and all my roads look terrible, so blame the beer on that one. Well, let's load it up, and let's talk about Tropico 6 a little bit, and explain what I like about it, what I think its drawbacks are, and how I think this one stacks up in the series. Error loading save game, data is corrupt and cannot be loaded. What? Huh. Okay, didn't expect that. Let's load... Do I have another one that's like... One of them is like, I started up one where I could just, still colonial era, Cold War. Can't load that one though. We will try this one. That's very weird. I haven't run into that issue with loading games before. That's very concerning. So I'm learning something new as I'm making this video. Wonderful. I can't show you my drunk city though, so that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, very odd. Okay, let's load game. Come on. You'd better load. Okay, it sounds like this one actually worked. That's good. Okay, so. Right, I remember this one. Yeah, so we're just gonna bring it down to one-time speed. I won't save anything. The Tropicans can do their own thing. They will possibly all die. Who knows? So, Tropico 6, sequel to Tropico 5. This game adds in a couple interesting features. The one that you're probably noticing, and you probably saw with the marketing material, is that it adds in multiple islands that you can colonize and you can create things on. And that's a neat little feature. It lets you build bridges so that people can, like, you know, drive over to the islands if they want to. People take boats. Your citizens, your Tropicans take boats now, so you'll see them kind of, like, going in between different ports and stuff, which is kind of a neat little thing. It adds more flavor to the island around you, because it looks like everything's a bit more alive. It gives them more options in where they can work, how they can get to work, that sort of thing, too. But beyond that, the bridges are really just a means to connect the islands, and then the islands themselves are just more of the exact same land. So aside from the aesthetic difference, I wouldn't say there's a huge improvement in that regard. You can also build tunnels now that go between these little plateaus, so if you start on certain maps where your first island might not be close enough to other places, but you can, like, get to the other side of it, like, say, through this area, if this was, like, all the way cut off, which I have had before, then I could go in and place a tunnel. And again, I'm just not going to care about my, all my stuff, like, all my finances and things right now. I feel like people are not happy in this game either, so I'm wondering what I did wrong, whatever. So yeah, you can place a tunnel, like, right here, and then you go to the other end of it, and then you place the exit of the tunnel. And that allows, obviously, your Tropicans to go through it. They can drive through it or walk through it, whatever they want to do. However you decide to manage your city and things like that. Then I could expand out here, and I could add in, we'll say, like, we'll put in more plantations. We'll figure out what would go really good over here. The plantations are the same as they always were. I think there might be one or two new things, but I could be totally wrong. Honestly, I didn't play a lot of Tropico 5. I've played more Tropico 4 in my time. So we'll add, like, a sugar plantation there. Yeah, and, like, the general city building is very unchanged. There are a lot of reused assets and things that look very similar, if not exactly the same, from Tropico 5, which I don't like personally, but I can understand because, you know, when you have a city simulator that's going to be very iterative, why spend all the time making everything look incredibly new when you can focus on features? So the question then becomes, are those features worthwhile? So I already talked about the bridges. They're neat. It makes your islands and your cities look cooler, but it's pretty inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. So this music is like super... This music is super hardcore. I feel like things are not going well. Whatever. So what other new features have they really added in? So one of the bigger ones is that now you can perform heists, which are kind of like you go and steal world wonders, and then you put them into your islands, like wherever you want to. So for example here, I've taken Stonehenge, and what Stonehenge does, I believe, is it kind of makes like pollution and stuff a lot less prevalent. It increases the regrowth rate of trees, and it just kind of lowers pollution across everything across the board. And these world wonders are very powerful. Okay.
Insurgents on our left, demons below, and
that guy looks like Wario. My stream kept pointing that out. We'll just do a hospital. Why not? We'll just say we're going to do that. So yeah, the World Wonders are very powerful items that you can get. I've also got whatever those are. I don't know how to pronounce that at all, so I'm just not going to. Those are like the Easter Island heads, I think. Yeah, so this one, for example, increases the speed of all the boats that your Tropicans use and the freighters that come in to trade goods and things like that. So that's obviously very powerful. Lets people get to where they're going faster, lets you get your goods in and export your stuff out faster. Slight drawback might be that it gets more people immigrating to your island faster. So it might run into like a homeless problem, something like that. And yeah, so they're very powerful, but it takes a long-ass time to get them. So the way you get them is with raids. And again, I don't remember if this was in Tropico 5 or not, but raids are, I wouldn't say incredibly important, but they allow you to do some pretty neat things. Not the least of which being heisting those world wonders. When you choose one, basically it takes 24 months initially to like get it. So let's go ahead and heist like the Sphinx, for example. So after that 24 months, there'll be like a pop-up mission that says like, okay, usually you have to either wait a little bit extra time, or you can deliver some items for your like raiders, or you can just straight up pay money to proceed to the next phase of the heist. Altogether, it can take up to 5 to 8 years, I think, to successfully complete it. And that does mean that while your Spy Academy, for example, is doing the heist, then you can't do other things with it. And then you can run into problems where, like, say, maybe the Communists or the Eastern Bloc wants me to do some espionage things, but then I can't do it until I do this I steal the World Wonder completely. Thankfully, you can do a lot of other things, like, every era has its own version of raiding, so eventually you can get, like, 3 or 4 of them going at the same time, and you produce raid points that kind of accumulate over time as you do everything. And that could be everything from, say, getting some extra resources, which is really good at the start, rescuing specific people. Then you can sabotage other superpowers. That's, like, appeases the other one, obviously, and stops them from invading your island, which is obviously incredibly useful if you don't have a big military, things like that. So yeah, the raids are a neat little addition. They feel very separate, for the most part, from the rest of the game, though. I feel like this game hasn't had a huge upgrade to economies or the way everything works. And I feel like at this point in the Tropico series, there probably needs to be kind of a general overhaul in the upgrade. I feel like a lot of people that have historically loved playing this game, they're probably used to, like, the Tropico they love and everything. But at this point, when you have Tropico 3, 4, 5, and 6 that are generally kind of the same. I mean, there's probably a big difference between 3 and 6, for example, but, like, at this point, maybe they should build it from the ground up and try to make something that's completely new and different, because I feel like the formula is getting stale. It's kind of reaching that, like, sports game issue where, you know, like, everything just, they take away features and then they'll probably eventually bring them back either in DLC or a couple years down the line, and that always bothers me. Oh, God. Apparently God is not happy with that church. That's not good. Hopefully my firefighters will go take care of that rather promptly. So yeah, I mean, if you've enjoyed Tropico, you're probably going to like this one. I still don't think it's as good as 4 was. I still have the most fond memories of playing that one. That being said, it was the first one that I played as well. But, like, if you've... I guess, like, the rest of this video, because there's nothing I can say to someone who's played Tropico that they don't already know about this game, because you've played Tropico and it's the same game. So, like, if you haven't played Tropico and you're interested in city builders or dictatorship simulators, I guess, then I would recommend maybe taking a look at it, because I still find it's a really engrossing and fun game. I've probably got multiple hundreds of hours in various games in the series overall, and it is a really good time waster. Like, this is the type of game that I would play for, like, probably a month straight, and then just never touch again until the next one comes out, and that's totally fine. So if you're interested in city builders and stuff, this one has a lot of focus on industry. So, say like you saw me put some plantations down earlier, you get tons of other options. Once you put down things like plantations, you can also go to like other industry settings where you can like build factories for these raw resources that you're harvesting, either growing or mining, that sort of thing. Then you can turn them into more expensive resources, you can export them with major superpowers in the world. All the while, you're juggling things like health services, so you're trying to, like, keep everyone, obviously, healthy with hospitals, happy with, like, their religion, so you got placed churches, fire stations in case things, like, catch on fire. You know, general city building stuff with more emphasis on the lifestyle that you want to cultivate in your island. And that's kind of where Tropico shines, because you don't necessarily have to focus on making everyone super happy. Because if they're not happy, but you're making lots of money and you're okay with that, you could build a bunch of barracks, and then, you know, if any rebels start attacking you, which they will do if they're not happy, how's that spot already taken? There's nothing there. That's another problem with this game. It randomly tells you that you can't build in certain places sometimes, even though that makes no sense. Huh. Maybe, it might be because the road is slightly curving at the end. It's because the road is curving right down at the end there that I can't place it, even though it's curving away from the barracks. That's so stupid. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, so like I was saying, if you just want to make a ton of money, and you don't want to deal with people's happiness, is make a bunch of barracks, and you can fight off the rebels, you can fight off invading forces too. They'll make demands of you constantly that you need to appease. You can try to keep everyone happy while you're still trying to, like, cultivate a good industry and make some money. There's very basic things in it for adjusting, like, your budgets for housing, for example. So I just, like, increase the budget for all my tenements. That's going to make people happier, obviously. I could increase the pay for, like any workplace. You can increase the budget and pay for, so I could just do it for, like, just this specific police station if I wanted to, so that I always have people around that area a lot more, so they're more likely to take the job in that place if I need them to, or you can just increase it for everyone kind of all around. And then you're juggling things like constitutions, so, like, I can choose how I want to govern my society. So, like, generally the middle ones are pretty reasonable things, but you can go to either extreme too. Like, my people aren't happy right now, so maybe I could, like, get rid of voting rights so that I'm more likely to get voted back in the next election, so I can make it so wealthy citizens vote. They're probably a lot more happier with me. Or, say, I could just, make, like, government employees vote. And if I don't like that, then I can just rig the elections. People hate me more, but I can totally do it. So yeah, there's plenty of things to do.
Do any of these offers look good to you?
There's very few new things that have been added in that I can really spend a lot of time on, because if I explained everything, I would just be explaining every game in this series that's come out. And again, that's a negative to me, But at the same time, I've played this game forever, and I still enjoy playing it. I've still put in probably about 25 hours so far, including the beta. So it's like they're still doing something right. I just want them to do something different now, I think is my biggest concern. So yeah, who knows? Do I have any... What is in the rest of this island anyways? Let's find out. Oh, there's a bunch of... There's some... Oh, I can make mines over there. There's uranium right there. That'd be really useful. Yeah, so as you go through all the ages and stuff, obviously you get new resources and things. I don't know if anything really new's been added in. I think nickel might be new. But it's adding in things rather than making something new, it feels like. Aside from, as I talked about earlier, the raids, which kind of feel inconsequential and separate from everything else that you're doing that's been in previous games before. So I'm not sure if it's like, if that was a worthwhile expansion. The only other big upgrades I can think of are like, now you can have alligator farms, which are OP because they instantly make leather. Whereas if you want to make leather otherwise, you need to have beef farms that give you meat and hide. But then you have to turn the hide into the leather from a tannery, which emits pollution. So alligators are OP is what I'm saying. Maybe they should have had like an option for them to like break out and eat people. I feel like maybe Tropico would be a great game for the next iteration to add in like some more silly stuff. Because this game's also been known for its humor in the past. And when you're in the campaign missions, there's tons of humor because there's tons of dialogue going on. When you're doing the sandbox stuff though, you kind of get the same voice lines over and over and over again. And I feel like they could maybe be a bit more creative with something like that too. So like I just had this idea off the top of my head, for example, like what if they upgraded the natural disasters to be something more akin to like SimCity, where you can get attacked by like some Godzilla monster, like maybe the alligators break out and like I said they eat everybody and then you have to deal with that, or something to liven up the gameplay a little bit and make it feel like there's new stuff to do and new stuff is happening to you that you have to deal with, because right now to me it doesn't feel like they've really upgraded that a whole lot.
If you understand, say and do nothing whatsoever.
Okay, cool. So let's make an alliance with the communists. Sounds good.
You can't want to duke it out with us. We're the good guys. That's why we have the most nukes.
Okay, they don't like me, but I think I researched a thing earlier so I can distract from this so I don't have to do what they say. So get out of here.
Some time, Presidente. I'm not sure how much or what it cost. And for God's sake, don't tell me.
Like, you know, the personalities and the artwork is really good and stuff. It's just like, when you're not doing the story missions, you get the same thing over and over again, and I feel like there could be more done with that. And I say all this stuff that I want everything upgraded, but to be entirely frank, I don't think that Calypso is really a company that is known for doing new things. They are a very iterative company in the majority of their games, so I don't know what I expect out of this series, but I just want something more. Does any of that make sense? Does anything that I said make any sense whatsoever? I don't know, like, what else can I say? The economy gets a little bit unstable as you get into the Cold War, I find. I find it's really hard to keep everyone employed and happy.
As we ally with the Eastern Bloc. Pundits ask, did the Cold War just turn tropical?
That's humorous. Yeah, so, like, no matter what I do in the Cold War now, as I build more docks and more people get, immigrate into the country, Jesus. Words and stuff are hard, apparently. I'm finding that I can't keep up with demand for employment, and then things like plantations become less viable as you go, because you have less room for them, and they just, like, they don't export enough money, so you need to get, like, other things that will, like, you need to get industry things that will process those raw resources and stuff. But they don't hold as many people, so I feel like there needs to be a bit more balancing, maybe, to the later stages of the game. And again, I'm not a brilliant city manager or anything, but I feel like the difficulty curve ramps up between the World War and the Cold War eras a little bit too far, and I think that maybe that needs to be adjusted just a little bit. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's me rambling about Tropico. There's not a lot of gameplay I can show you. Because the majority of what you're doing is what you've been seeing me doing. Is like, you wait until you have enough money, then you buy something, and then you build something somewhere, and then your builders go off to build it, and if it takes too long, you make more builders, and if you run out of money, then you make more resource farms, and then you get more money, or you decrease your budgets in areas and stuff. And so, like, we'll decrease the budget in our farms. That's going to make me less money, too, because they're not going to be as effective, so we'll decrease the budget in our houses, too, and then they'll be fine with that. We'll be okay. This Tropico is going to be fine. Doesn't matter that we're $10,000 in debt. We got all these freighters coming in. They're going to get us out of the hole momentarily. And then, in a minute or so, we'll be back in the hole. I don't know. It becomes very unsteady after a while, so, yeah. I think... Oh my god, get out of here. I don't really care. Yeah, something needs to be done to change up some things, make things a bit more transparent in what you need to do to make everyone happy as well. Sometimes you don't really know what's going on and why people are unhappy, and you feel like when you make, like, a bunch of religious buildings, maybe the happiness doesn't go up the way you expected it to, or... like, the amount of money that you spent on it, you don't get the return in that. And someone's probably going to comment, like, oh, you just don't know how to play Tropico. I would know the exact perfect place to put this. All your buildings are in the wrong place. But, like, it needs to be accessible for a regular player as well. And I feel like it needs to just... it should be easy to learn, difficult to master in this type of game, I feel like. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to leave. I think I've talked enough. I'm going to go make some dinner. And then I may or may not have a stream curator planned for tonight, so keep an eye out for that. I downloaded a bunch of random-ass indie games, and that's going to be interesting as crap, because there's some weird stuff in there, and some good stuff, too. I'm kind of excited. Alright, thanks for listening to me ramble about a city simulator.
I bring news of a threat so unthinkable, I cannot even tell you what it is.
I don't think he knows what the threat is. Thanks, Wario. Alright, I'm gone. Bye.
I'm just trying to